Appreciate you all being here today. Good morning, happy lunch, good afternoon, based off the time zone you're in. We are excited to welcome you to our presentation here today with Avalara, talking about how Avalara is going to help in cutting down costs while making sure you and your business are staying compliant. So I want to welcome you to today's webinar. My name is Connor O'Donnell. I am Avalara's Acumatica specialist. I've been with the company for about 3 years now, and I work just with Acumatica folks. So just like businesses like yourself, so who are either transitioning to Acumatica, considering transitioning to Acumatica, or currently on Acumatica. My role is to work with businesses like yourself and help craft up an automation compliance solution based off the specifics of your needs. Just very quickly about myself, I am based in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I'm an East Coast guy myself, and I live out here with my wife, our dog, and our newborn, Hayes. So looking forward to chatting with y'all today and appreciate your interest in learning a little bit more. So as we get started here, y'all, we all know and appreciate that sales tax compliance is complex. That's why you're here today. That's why companies like Avalara are in business. So why it's so complicated is because there's a variety of different nuances that businesses like yourself are responsible for knowing. And we put some of these factoids right here for you, but if you're manually handling compliance and based off the specific of your business profile, you might have to be aware and knowledgeable for up to 12,000 tax jurisdictions across the United States. Based off, again, the specifics of your business, you might need to be kept aware and kept updated to over the 10,000 tax rates across the country. And I see this a lot working with Acumatica customers, but a lot of businesses like yourself are highly exempt or deal with highly exempt customer bases. So in those situations, you all need to understand exemption certificates, the right certificate based off the location, based off your customer's profile. You have to deal with vendor certificates for your vendors that you're dealing with. And then you have to also deal with how your products and services are taxed on either on the if they're taxable or if they're exempt. So there's a variety of different complexities that you all are managing yourselves, which makes compliance even more complicated. And so honing in on that idea that compliance is a challenging aspect for a modern day business, Avalara, we took a poll of our current customers, and the results are falling in line with what we've chatted about so far. And a majority of customers are saying that the two biggest challenges that they find dealing with compliance, specifically the managing sales taxes, keeping up with those tax laws. So understanding how their products and services are taxed, if they're taxable, if they're exempt, and how those laws are in taxabilities are constantly changing. And then understanding Nexus. So understanding the requirement that their business has to get registered in a state. In addition to that, people are dealing with the challenges of actually doing the calculations, remitting those calculations to the state governments. And then for businesses, especially kind of in that construction space, dealing with use taxes is a prevalent issue as well. So we're definitely going to make sure to address some of these different pain points and showcase a few different products that Avalara has specifically to combat these challenges with modern day tax compliance. So like I mentioned in that last slide, adding to the complexity of compliance is Nexus. Now, what is Nexus, right? Nexus is simply a business's responsibility to get registered in a specific state based off certain business criteria or business activities. And the overall concept or principle of Nexus, it's not the most complicated part. Again, it's the nuances of Nexus. For example, understanding as a business what are the different thresholds for each state's Nexus requirements. For example, some states, it's as soon as you hit $100,000 in sales in that state. Some states, it's, you have to hit $250,000, but you also have to have 200 separate transactions or invoices in those states. Some take taxable sales into consideration. Some it's based off gross sales. There's a variety of different triggers just on that economic piece. So sales dollars and number of invoices, but it's become even more complicated as Nexus has expanded to involve new triggers such as physical nexus. So, are you attending a trade show in that state? Marketplace nexus. Are you selling through Amazon or Walmart or eBay? An affiliate nexus, right? Are you sending out publications to a certain state for advertising purposes? Do you have a sister organization that's located in a state you're not registered in? There's a variety of different challenges that are specific to Nexus. And again, Avalara can help. So it's not all doom and gloom. I promise we're not here just to talk about all the challenges. We do have solutions. And one of the ways that Avalara assists our customers is through saving both money and time through our products that give and provide automation. So as you can see here, we broke out all the different burdens that customers are dealing with in the specific, and we have a specific correlating Avalara product that assists with those burdens. So, if we're looking at these orange bullet points, first and foremost, we'll let you know through one of our heat maps where you need to get registered based off those Nexus thresholds we just talked about in the last slide. If you do exceed an economic nexus threshold and need to get registered in that state, we're able to actually get you registered in that state. And that's for both the United States, but also internationally with VAT registrations. We've got our tax engine, which I'll highlight in today's conversation to help out with those tax rate and tax calculations. Our exemption certificate management system for your exempt customers and for your exempt vendors. And then, of course, we have a remittance platform where we can actually file and remit the sales tax returns that you have in the states that you're registered in. And so this automation, the products that I just talked about, those lead to tangible savings because there's some data that supports that, audits are not cheap. If you are on the webinar today and have unfortunately had to go through a sales tax audit, I know I'm preaching to the choir there, but uh, in 2022, we found that the average penalty for a small to medium-sized business as a result of undergoing an audit is a little bit below 55K. And some data, continual data that, breaking deeper into that is that about 48% of those respondents to this poll said that just a small sales tax rate or rule error was the top reason that led to those audit penalties of 55K. So something small, again, going back to it, it's not the overall principle of compliance that's challenging. It's these little nuances that lead to big penalties and big errors and ramifications for businesses like yourself. And then for our highly exempt customers who are on today's webinar, 41% of respondents said that they had an audit penalty based on a missing exemption certificate. So Avalara does, of course, have products to help out with that to make audit easier for you and to make that overall audit defense as robust as possible. So let's dive deeper into one of our main products here, which is Avalara's tax engine. So first and foremost, Avalara's tax engine is called AvaTax. And so rather than manually managing those 12,000 tax jurisdictions that I showed in an earlier slide, our tax engine will manage all those different tax jurisdictions in our cloud-based platform. So, there'll be no need to make any types of changes to the tax rate as those tax rates change. Any type of change that comes from the state will automatically reflect in our tax engine, which will automatically connect into Acumatica. So there'll be no need for y'all to manage the tax zones within Acumatica. Our system will override that and take care of it ourselves. And I want to bring it to attention the last one, so special circumstances around tax holidays. Just a little insider tip that I found is that tax holidays, why a lot of us, myself included, just think of them as, being tax exempt for, back to school shopping. There's actually been a new increase that allows for hurricane relief after any type of natural disaster. There's now tax holidays associated with those natural disasters for businesses within that space, especially for my construction customers. So happy to go more in depth with that outside of this webinar if that's at all applicable to your business. So I'm a visual guy, so I want to start here by showing our product flow and how our system actually works and connects into Acumatica. So if we start here within Acumatica, whenever an invoice either commits from Acumatica or you have a sales order or sales quote that you're saving within Acumatica, it's going to call up to Avalara's tax engine, again called AvaTax, through a pre-built integration between the two. So when you click save on that invoice, whether it's a committed invoice or a quote, it's going to flow up to Avalara's tax engine. Avalara's tax engine is going to break apart the specifics of that invoice, all the different line items, and we're going to make a tax determination on each and every single one of those line items. We're then going to align sales tax to those line items where sales tax is applicable, and then push it right back into Acumatica. And that might sound like a long process, right? It takes under a sub-second. It's from the time where you click save to when it automatically populates back in. So it takes me longer to explain how our process flow works than the actual situation itself. So moving right along, in that the theme of cost savings, a unique program that Avalara provides is Streamlined Sales Tax, otherwise known as SST. SST, y'all, in a nutshell, is just a program that Avalara is a part of, where we work directly with about 24 states to provide you free sales tax calculations, free returns. If you're not registered in that state, you can get automatically registered for free through Streamlined Sales Tax and Avalara. And if you are ever audited in one of these states, Avalara will serve as your intermediary between you and the state government. So a really good cost savings there. Moving along, so the next way that we ultimately are able to help out with compliance is through outsourcing. So Avalara, of course, we have really robust technology, but it's not just technology that's helping out our customers with their business compliances. It's actual Avalara employees like myself. So we've got teams at Avalara who are able to help out with a lot of these specifics that we're mentioning, like getting you registered in states, collecting your exemption certificates during implementation, helping with custom research products for figuring out how your products and services are taxed across the country. While we do have very robust technology, in a chat GPT world that we're living in, it's always good to know that there are people on the back end, and that is certainly the case here with Avalara. And I want to leave y'all today with actually showing on a high level one of our products that allow for you to bring some of your compliance processes, maybe from an external CPA firm, internally within your business through Avalara. So if you remember back to earlier in the presentation, when we broke out some of the common challenges for tax compliance for Avalara's current customers, 63% of them said that keeping up with the different tax laws is a big challenge. So we heard our customers loud and clear, and because of that, we created and are now able to offer Avalara Tax Research, which is Avalara's product taxability and research tool. In a nutshell, y'all, if I had to give this product more of like a layman terms description, it's the Google and Wikipedia for tax research. So some things that you can do within it, you can actually get yes, no answers to your more complex compliance questions. So you can go in to the search bar, ask whatever specific type of question you might have, anything from does raw sand change its taxability if it goes through a refinement process machine? It's a real scenario that one of my customers dealt with. And then from there, Avalara Tax Research, otherwise known as ATR, will spit out the specific result telling you either if that situation is taxable or exempt based off the specific states that you're looking in. We're also able, through Avalara Tax Research, to give you immediate access to any type of specific question you might have with a real human. So, for example, you can ask any type of question within our Contact the Expert section of Avalara Tax Research. No question is off limit. And one of our tax researchers, who are previous tax attorneys, tax law experts, tax law researchers, they're going to respond back to you within 24 to 48 hours with an audit-backed response to that question, which is always great, right? Again, in this digital, very automated, technology-focused society that we live in, being able to actually speak to someone about your complex issues is a really big value add of Avalara Tax Research. And so, we're obviously, because of the sake of time, not going to go into an actual product demo, but I wanted to show you some specific screenshots just to give you at least a high level overview to pique your interest about Avalara Tax Research. So let's say that you're a company who works in the food industry and you wanted to understand a little bit more about how your products and services are taxed, any type of changes that are occurring within there. So you can go within our dashboard within Avalara Tax Research, and you can actually go to the search bar. But if you wanted to take the more scenic route, you could come here through some of the widgets that we have, and you can actually go into one of these specific tax industry categories we have, click food for this specific example, and then figure out, specifically how your products and services are taxed based off that industry. So if I was curious to know, hey, how is a fryer taxed, right? Is it taxable? Is it exempt in California? Well, you can see that right here. We take the guesswork out of it. We give you a yes or no answer. Is fryer taxable in California? Yes, it is, right? There's nothing complex about that. There's nothing ambiguous about that. And then we give you a couple sentence explanation that's in layman's terms that you and I can understand. And then what we always do is link to the tax authority that our tax team used to derive these yes no answers in these couple sentence backgrounds. Again, giving you, rather than having you all read these tax laws, these tax citations, these tax codes, we had a team do it for you. So again, this is one of the ways that we're able to take a lot of processes that you might have had externally through a different party, bring it in-house through Avalara's products specifically for this Avalara Tax Research. So as we wrap up here, y'all, appreciate y'all spending the last 15 or so minutes with us. So, I've got my contact information up here. Happy to have any type of conversation that you might have about your current compliance processes, how Avalara can help out. We also, if you want to swing by our virtual booth, we have a raffle for a free Yeti cooler. I'm sure our marketing department, who's much more gifted than I am at these things, has some type of thing about staying cool with compliance and having a Yeti cooler for that. But I'll let those experts stick with that. But I'll stop sharing now. See if there's any questions in the last 2 minutes before we hop off here. But as we wrap up here, I just want to say thanks to everyone for their attention and for their curiosity about all things compliance. So I see we've got a few different checks. If there's any Q and A's, I'll make sure to stay on. But otherwise, I hope everyone has a great rest of your Thursday, and looking forward to hopefully working with you in the future.